Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Farzy Show. My name is Marc Farzetta here at the Steven Singer Studios. Obviously not the show we wanted to do today, talking about an Eagles 17-11 loss to the San Francisco 49ers. There's a lot of things that we can look at in this game that are upsetting. There's a lot of things that are a little off-putting. There's a lot of things that are just, quite frankly, disappointing and depressing when you think about not just the fact that this is a loss, but now a loss that's going to linger for a couple of reasons. Two reasons, actually. One being that you don't play till Monday night, so you have to sit through all of Sunday waiting for Monday. But boy, oh boy, when Monday comes, it'll be against the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas. And hopefully it'll be a nice bounce-back game for the Eagles. So it'll linger for one more game. But more importantly, and even more glaring, it's a lingering loss because of who you lost during the loss. And that's Brandon Graham and Brandon Brooks. And my good friend and my post-game co-host, Derek Gunn, reported during the game that it looked like Brandon Graham was going to be done for the season with a torn Achilles. That's what Derek Gunn did report during the game. Shortly thereafter, it seemed like all the stories were coming out that report was all but confirmed with Brandon Graham, and then Brandon Graham came out with a very nice message we'll let you see a little bit later in the show to all the fans of Philadelphia and to his team at the same time. It looks like Brandon Graham's season is done. Brandon Brooks' season in peril right now. It looks like he's got a pec tear, possibly. We'll find out more information later on today when Nick Sirianni addresses the media a little bit before noon, from what I understand. So we'll figure all this out as far as the injury goes, but it does look like Brandon Graham is done. It does look like Brandon Brooks is at least out a number of weeks with a pec injury, we'll call it that. But when it comes to the things that don't just depress you like injuries, and it comes to the things that actually really upset you about the way this game played out, there's a couple of things that we'll highlight in our Farzy 5. And I got to be honest with you. There is one glaring problem that overshadowed the four other problems. And it was really difficult to come up with a Farzy 5 today. And you might say, that's ridiculous. The Eagles lost. They looked terrible. Yeah, but one guy in particular looked really terrible in this game. And it was just hard for me. Like, I was even talking to PJ, producer Jim himself, and I was like, hey, Jim, just tell me, what pissed you off about this game? Because every time I think about, man, what really upset me about the Eagles losing to the 49ers 17-11, it goes back to one guy. And yes, it's a team, and you win and lose as a team and all that fun stuff. But this one guy just really pissed me off. But I'll give it to you like this. As I try to come up with 5 things to take away from this game, the 1 and 2 are Brandon Graham and obviously Brandon Brooks and the amount of time you might be losing. So let's just speed up to number 3. All right. Number 3, Steven Nelson. I like to go back to this quote from a favorite movie of mine, and the movie is called Office Space. And quite frankly, I thought it should have won an Academy Award. Anyway, Steven Nelson, what is it you say you do here? Because every time I see you on the field, it's you not doing something. Like, I see you, I know you're there, I know you're one of the 11 guys wearing the jersey that I'm rooting for, but when you have the jersey on, what are you doing exactly? And there was the pass interference call in the end zone simply because he got beat the brakes off him in the end zone. So he thought, abort mission, and then had to make a pass interference call, or had to draw the pass, or commit the pass interference. But even before that, the Jennings touchdown. I believe the 49ers lined up with 3 receivers to the left, 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end. The 1 tight end is a guy named George Kittle. You might have heard of him. He's pretty good at football. So the Eagles got a linebacker and 2 defensive backs over to the left side of the field. And you're watching that, and you're going, oh, okay, they got Kittle covered, so that's good. And then the play starts to develop, and Jimmy Garoppolo hits a wide-open Jennings in the corner of the end zone for a touchdown, the first touchdown by the San Francisco 49ers. Now, Steven Nelson was on that side of the football field, but for whatever reason, started to drift in to almost like he was suctioned in, like George Kittle was a black hole, and he's pulling Steven Nelson in towards him. Meanwhile, leaving Jennings wide open for the touchdown. So that, to me, looked like they were supposed to be sitting back in zone coverage, waiting to react to what was happening at the line of scrimmage. And instead of reacting in a good way, in a positive way, they reacted in a very negative way. And all collapsed on the same guy, which, by the way, is exactly what Kyle Shanahan drew up on that play. That could not have gone better for what Kyle Shanahan drew up on that play. And Jonathan Gannon's defense was just taken by surprise for whatever reason that's what the ultimate goal of the play was. So Steven Nelson is just, look, what happened on that? Touchdown already happened. While you were being sucked into George Kittle, taking the bait, in other words, there's touchdown being scored. Excuse me. Over your right shoulder. So the Eagles, of course, start to go down, and that's when they really were never able to regain the lead. Wasn't the biggest turning point in the game, but it certainly was something that was glaring. I do got to look at this, and I'm upset that it happened. He's a young guy. He's a young receiver. He's going to make mistakes. But, I mean, one of the things, and this kind of goes back to somebody else that I'm about to talk about, but Jalen Reagor, his heel being out of bounds twice on a deep ball that would have made it a 10-0 game. And instead of him scoring that touchdown and thinking that the Eagles were finally breaking through, the Eagles broke through against the Atlanta Falcons a week ago by having that breakthrough play with Devontae Smith, that beautiful rub route with him and Zach Ertz, and Devontae Smith getting into the end zone for that beautiful touchdown reception. That was great. That was like a breakthrough moment. Okay, good. They broke through. They broke the play. They scored the touchdown. This is great. But Jalen Reagor's foot, twice, his heel, out of bounds, comes back in. Doesn't establish himself. He got a foot down, didn't establish himself, catches the ball, goes to the end zone, touchdown, take it away. And then later in that drive, you end up not getting points because that was the end of the first quarter, start of the second quarter. Reagor doesn't get the touchdown. You don't get the first down with Dallas Goedert in that play they tried to execute. And then you kick a 47-yard field goal, and it gets blocked by Jake Elliott. 47-yard field goal, it gets blocked. So you look at this whole thing and the way it played out, and you go, a couple of heels, Jalen Reagor, and you're not having this problem. A couple of heels, Jalen Reagor, and you might even be winning this football game. That might have been just what you needed, again, for the breakthrough moment for the Eagles. So I look at the injuries. Those are the two biggest takeaways from the game as far as shifting into things that pissed me off. That goes into Steven Nelson. Number two, it would have been a huge difference in this ball game if you would have seen something a little bit different from Reagor on that play down the sideline. But really, numbers 5 through 2. Okay, things happen throughout a football game. I get it. But the overall eclipse of all the other problems the Eagles had in this game start and finish with the head coach and play caller of this football team, Nick Sirianni. Now, I'm not going to go so far as to say he sucks, this guy's terrible, fire him. Like, that's just ridiculous. Like, that's just the piping hot takes that are out there. Just stop. When it comes to Nick Sirianni in this game, we're going to call this, as I believe my 2-year-old daughter's daycare teacher would say, so this is a teaching moment. That's what we're taking away from this Eagles game and Nick Sirianni. I'm just going to chalk it up, and I'm really angry. I'm really pissed off, but we're going to call this with Nick Sirianni a teaching moment. That's what we're going to get away with, at least in this game. But in this teaching moment lies many teaching moments. And I might even be able to do a Farzy 5 just with the things that pissed me off about Nick Sirianni alone in this game. The first thing, 12 completions by your quarterback. 12 completions out of 23, 24 pass attempts in this game? Where's the rhythm you're trying to establish with your quarterback? And yeah, some of that is on the quarterback himself. Jalen Hurts missed a deep ball where he held on to it, I thought, a little too long. I believe in the first possession of the game, a deep ball to Devontae Smith. He had all the time in the world to throw it. That doesn't mean you have to take all the time in the world to throw it, but he did. It was incomplete down the middle of the field. There was another play, I believe it was the third down play to Dallas Goedert, where he, instead of going to Goddard, he went to Devontae Smith. It was a rollout to Jalen Hurts' left. He had a short route to Dallas Goedert where three guys were converging on Dallas Goedert, but there was still the lane to throw. The guys were reacting to the play, but the short throw was there for Dallas Goedert. That would have been a first down. Instead, Jalen Hurts ended up going the deeper route, which was about 10, 15 yards down the sideline to Devontae Smith, who was blanketed on the play. He was actually more covered than the guys that were released in pursuit of Dallas Goedert to cover Dallas Goedert. So, yeah, some of that you could certainly put on the quarterback. But there has to be a point where you actually allow Jalen Hurts to figure out some kind of rhythm, establish some type of rhythm in this play, and in this game, and that goes to the head coach, the play caller, more importantly in this scenario, Nick Sirianni. So you had no rhythm in the offense. You also had the timeout debacle in the fourth quarter. I kind of get his thinking about the clock stopping and 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and I kind of get the thing in there, but you still want those timeouts in your back pocket. I think also in his mind, he's thinking, if there's another 16-play drive here where my defense can't get off the field, then I'm going to need those timeouts in my back pocket. And that didn't happen, obviously, as that game went on. So you look at the rhythm, you look at the clock management. Oh, my God. Complaining about clock management again. Time management, placement of timeouts and all that stuff. Rhythm, timeouts, and then the most glaring, dumb play call you could imagine. 4th and goal from the 3-yard line. Let's just look at this series before we get to the Philly-esque play. Not Philly special. It was more Philly than Philly special. There's a big difference. But Nick Sirianni decides, I'm going to call this play. But not after. Let's see here. You fail on a Miles Sanders run. You fail on a pass attempt. Jalen Hurts run. Where you run an option to the right side of the field on a play where I wasn't sure if Jalen Hurts was just really trying to sell it that he was going to hand the ball off to Miles Sanders, or if he was still trying to read the defensive end. I'm going to go ahead and say the latter. So he holds on to that football while it's still in the stomach of Miles Sanders. They roll to the right side of the field. Nothing there. Jalen Hurts tries to break it, does not get there. Then you get to the 4th down. I can understand going for it on a 4th and goal from the 3-yard line. That's not that difficult to understand. If you don't get it, you're still burying them deep in the zone, in their offensive zone, defensive zone, your offensive zone, burying them close to their own goal. I get that. That's all fine. That's all well and good. But to call that play at that moment in the game with Devontae Smith touching the ball, Greg Ward throwing the pass, and Jalen Hurts ended up in the corner in the end zone, blanketed by coverage, by the way, which is already just crazy to think. To call that play at that time was just stupid. That was, no doubt in my mind, Nick Sirianni getting all giddy. If you want to make any comparison to the guy we saw in that opening introductory press conference, to the guy that was a little, the moment was a little too big for him, that play was a little too big for Nick Sirianni. That play call was especially a little too big for Nick Sirianni. And that was a moment for him to shine. 4th and goal, 3-yard line. Hey, man, have at it. To call that play in that situation was just flat out stupid. I can understand calling a play at that situation. I can understand going for it for the touchdown. I understand that. What I don't understand is the actual play that they called. That was just beyond me. And I know that if it worked, everyone's going nuts. But if it worked, the reason everyone's going nuts is because they can't believe how dumb the play call was, and yet they pulled it off. And Nick Sirianni, we'll hear from him later in the show. We have no guest today, as I like to do on Mondays following games, or on days following games, rather. I like to make sure that we have all the sound, and we let you guys hear from everyone in the locker room. Nick Sirianni we'll hear from Jalen Hurts. We'll hear from Steven Nelson later in the show. But this game, I look so much more at the head coach and the play caller than I do to the defensive coordinator, than I do with defense allowing a 16-play drive and taking some bad penalties there. I have some issues with the penalties, but taking bad penalties nonetheless. But overall, Nick Sirianni took this on the chin. Now, here's the thing. It's not all about lighting a match to Nick Sirianni and his play calling or him as a head coach or anything like that. Now it's about bouncing back. We all know what's next. We all know that the biggest thing for Nick Sirianni from this point on is just focusing on the Dallas Cowboys and beating the Dallas Cowboys. Because Dallas Cowboys look like they're a pretty good football team. And Nick Sirianni has to go into Dallas. He's got to win that game. The Eagles got to go in there, and they got to win that game. And one of the things that always drives me crazy whenever you question play calling or whenever you criticize a head coach is this one word, execution. And I know a lot of people over the last couple of weeks have been really dissecting that word due to something that happened at Notre Dame. But I'm going to dissect that word a little bit different here. I hate often when a coach or players will focus on execution. And they'll say, we called the play, we just didn't execute. Okay, I can understand how that happens. Sometimes you call a play and somebody is supposed to block somebody. They don't block that person. Quarterback gets sacked. I know how you call a play. The play is there, and a receiver drops the ball. That's execution. And I understand that. No problem. But when the play is birthed from dumb assery, such as what happened at the 4th and goal situation with Nick Sirianni calling that play, that's not execution. That's play calling. You know what? You might as well just call it a fake punt pass to the outside. Oh, well, we just didn't execute the fake punt. You know why you didn't? Because it was stupid. Just like that play call. And I know a lot of people also, and I was not exempt from this. I did this as well. The comparisons right out of the gate to Doug Peterson and Doug Peterson's playbook and calling that play, I just can't help but think that was a moment where Nick Sirianni thought to himself, watch this. It was a splash moment for him that he tried to come up big with this play call. And I don't think Jalen Hurts liked that play call too much. He didn't say as much after the game, reading his body language a little bit, kind of how he seemed a little put off. It wasn't necessarily like he hated his head coach or anything over dramatic like that, but just break it down like this. Even if you take away any of the drama or anything like that, when you listen to Jalen Hurts after the game, even if it's just any quarterback, they want to throw that ball. They don't want to be in the end zone catching a pass. They want to be executing a more high percentage play, let's call it, as opposed to some razzle-dazzle, gimmicky type play that, guess what, you haven't run as a pro quite yet. So why would I do that in a game where I know it's early, and that's why I can justify going for it on 4th down in general. But again, that type of play call was just ridiculous. And when we let you hear from Jalen Hurts a little bit later in the show, yeah, we'll I want to get your vibes from it in the comments there. But please, in the comments, let me know what rubbed you the wrong way. I just can't help. Again, put it this way: Nick Sirianni is the ultimate eclipse. If all the problems were the sun, yeah, Nick Sirianni is the moon, just being like, "Hey guys, what about me?" And that's what it felt like in this game. And one of the things that's so crazy is throughout this game, you felt like the Eagles had control. You felt like it was just a matter of time before they came out and had that big play, and you thought the Jalen Reagor play was the big play. And the other thing was the Quez Watkins play where they're backed up in their own end zone, and Jalen Hurts is 5 feet deep in his own end zone, and Jordan Mailata is holding his block on the outside against Nick Bosa, and they bomb it down the sidelines to Quez Watkins, who takes it 91 yards, and that's what set up the red zone play, and then the buffoonery happened, unfortunately. But as you watch that play unfold, like you were waiting for that other, like that, that was a big play, but you're waiting for that breakthrough moment where it's like, okay, the Eagles got this. And like the Devontae Smith, as I mentioned earlier, the Devontae Smith play against the Atlanta Falcons. Okay, the Eagles got this. You never got that in this game. And I believe the Falcons, I believe the 49ers ran about 15 more plays than the Eagles did in the entire game. It felt like they ran at least 25. Like that's what it felt like. And the reason it felt like that is because in the 4th quarter of this game, the 49ers had possession of the ball for 11 minutes. For 11 minutes and 50 seconds. The Eagles barely had the ball in the 4th quarter. And that's one of the main reasons why it felt like they started to really lose control of this game. And when you go back to the 16-play drive that the defense allowed and the 2 penalties that they took on that 16-play drive and how that drive was capped off by a quarterback sneak, something you're thinking, oh, maybe the Eagles could have done that in one of those situations where it was, 4th and goal and short, basically, to get to the goal line. There were a number of situations where you thought the Eagles were going to be able to break through. There's a number of situations where you thought the Eagles were going to be able to take control of this game, and they failed to do that. And to me, that doesn't just come down to execution. Sure, if Jalen Hurts is able to connect with Devontae Smith in the first possession of the game on that deep ball where he had all day to throw, we're talking about a different game altogether, most likely. But the most consistent problem throughout this game came down to coaching. It came down to play calling. It came down for a failure to get your quarterback in rhythm. And many times, the reason I'm not going more after Jalen Hurts in this game is because I overall believe he played a good game. But also, he was scrambling and running for his life in some instances in this game to try to get something going offensively. And some of your biggest plays were him scrambling. So I think he kept you in the game, if anything. And he certainly put the ball where it needed to be on what would have been the Jalen Reagor touchdown. And I also don't fault him at all for having to call the play that the coach gave him. And it seemed like Nick Sirianni and Jalen Reagor weren't on the same page as far as what the coverage was on that play either. It seemed like they were both singing a different song after the game. We'll let you hear from those guys coming up in just a minute, like I said. So overall, just a very disappointing loss. Defense couldn't get off the field when he needed them to get off the field, but overall, I thought they played a good game. The one, look, there's no moral victories, but one of the things that I was impressed with was Nick Bosa went up against Jordan Mailata and came up with 1 sack. And Nick Bosa also caused a fumble on Jalen Hurts on a side of the line of scrimmage that was not Jordan Mailata's. He went over to the other side of the line of scrimmage against Lane Johnson and Stahl, the rookie tight end. And Lane Johnson's assignment on that was to shift to take the inside pressure. Stahl's assignment on that was to stay on the outside and try to block Nick Bosa. That did not go well. That did not go well at all, as a matter of fact. So they end up allowing the fumble from Hurts, and Stahl, to his credit, was able to jump on the ball, so it wasn't a turnover. So at least there was that. But overall, Jordan Mailata was one of the bright spots you could take out of this game for how he played overall against a premier pass rusher. Again, this guy is trying to establish himself as one of the best left tackles in the game, already a $64 million man with the Eagles. I thought this was a step in the right direction for Jordan Mailata. I thought he did get away with a hold early in the game, but hey, such is life, got away with a hold. But one of the things that we'll continue to focus on throughout this show today is just Nick Sirianni. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of his play calling? What do you think was the most glaring problem in this game? Hit me up in the comments on our YouTube page. Make sure you subscribe as well. Before we start running through all the stuff that happened after the game, we got Sirianni, we got Hurts, and we got my buddy. We got Steven Nelson coming up in just a second. I do want to tell you about my actual buddy, and that's Steven Singer, Steven Singer Jewelers. Here at the Steven Singer Studios, we like to make sure that everyone goes to the other corner of 8th and Walnut for everything they need in the jewelry department of your life. When it comes to getting engaged, when it comes to telling the person you love, you want to spend the rest of your life with them, go to Steven Singer, the Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, or at IHateStevenSinger.com. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. Always fast and free shipping at IHateStevenSinger.com. And when you use their appointment scheduler and you walk into the store, you'll be guided by a real jewelry expert that you'll have a conversation with. You'll just have a conversation. What do you like? What do they like? What are you into? What type of jewelry do they have already? Are they looking for something that matches, something that's different? They'll walk you through the entire process. It's a great thing. You'll be treated like family. And here's one of the best things. No haggling. No negotiating. You don't have to worry about it. Everything's set at the perfect price. There's not some huge markup just to mark it down in front of you to make you feel like you won something or you get some kind of deal. Everything's set at the perfect price every single day. The deal's there waiting for you. It's there for the taking, folks. There's no promo codes, no discounts, no crazy promotions. It's a very I don't even have a promo code for this commercial right now. It's just you go in, perfect price every time. Just like that, it's Steven Singer, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, right on Jewelers Row, right in Philadelphia. Without further ado, let's get to some of this stuff that happened post-game. First and foremost, Nick Sirianni talking about the play call, 4th and goal from the 3.
You know, I don't think I called the good plays in that area, and there's going to be times where you're going to look at it and be like, I want those calls back. So, when they work, it was a good play. They didn't, so it was my fault. I didn't call good enough plays right there. I didn't put the players in good enough positions, and it's on. We're all in this together, coaches and players.
The 4th down call in particular, why in that moment?
Yeah, I thought they give them credit, first of all. I think they did a great job. Their defense coordinator just did a really good job, and so I give them credit for some of the false things they were showing us. We thought it was a certain coverage. It wasn't. They did a good job of disguising it. 54 gets the show running out there. He can kind of get everybody lined up the way he needs to, and so I give them credit first, and then I felt confident in the play. The play looked good in practice this last week. Felt confident in the coverage that we were getting, and hey, they didn't play it, and that happens sometimes. On second thought, do I want that play back? Of course. Anytime you call a play that doesn't work, especially in tight games, especially in those and down there in a 7-point play, you're gonna want that back. So I got to call a better play.
He admits to it. What he doesn't admit to is right after that, he was asked about the timeouts, and he's just like, nope, I would do the same thing every time over again. And I kind of get it, just because he's thinking he can stop the clock. The clock will stop more in the 5-minute mark of the fourth quarter, under the 5-minute mark of the fourth quarter, so he's thinking he doesn't need the timeouts at that point. To me, I keep him in your back pocket, bro. Keep him in your back pocket, Nick Sirianni. Like that he admits to it, because that goes into, again, what I'm saying about next week. Nick Sirianni next week has to bounce back. He has to have a much better game plan against the Dallas Cowboys. He has to have make sure his players have much better execution, the much better practice. Even look, I don't know what they're doing in practice to give him confidence that he can execute that play in the fourth goal situation. But whatever it was, they gave him confidence that he could do it. I give him credit for not doing it, for not saying, no, that's the play call in that situation. I think he realizes he kind of got a little giddy and was like, yeah, let me blow the roof off this place with this play. This will really get him. And talking to John McMullen on the live postgame show that I do with Derek Gunn and Friday's guest, Devin Caney, John McMullen had a good way to put it. He goes, that was like pandering. He goes, that was like wearing Phillies gear to a press conference. You were just trying to get the crowd. Like, it was solely for the crowd. It had nothing to do with the actual game. It was solely for the crowd. It was almost like vanity of Nick Sirianni that he wanted to make this particular play call to show how good this team could really execute. And here's what's really wild about it. Like, sometimes you just step aside. You take your opinion, you ball it up, and you throw it out the window when you see how that play rolled out. You see Jalen Hurts do the handoff to Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith then tosses it to Greg Ward. Greg Ward then rolls to the right side of the line of scrimmage. And Greg Ward looks down the field. When Greg Ward looks up, if you go back, well, you'll see this play. It'll be on highlights. It'll be, shown a lot. Notice when Greg Ward actually looks up to throw the football, what that side of the field looked like. Because there were at least 3 49ers in coverage, just in coverage on that side of the field. And when you watch the play, and then you watch 2 more steps after Greg Ward looks up to try to throw the football, it's a sea of 49ers with one guy in green in the corner of the end zone. And that one guy, if you look closely, you can see him amongst all the white jerseys. That one guy, you know who that is? That's our guy. That's Jalen Hurts. There's nobody on that side of the field to help out. Devontae Smith is involved in tossing the football. He's on the other side of the football field. Greg Ward, who's on that side, is supposed to throw the ball to the one other guy on that field, on that side of the field, and that's Jalen Hurts. Stupid. And guess what? Everything after that, the entire momentum of the game changed. You had a chance to go up again, 10-0 at that point in the game. And instead, 49ers get the ball back. Next thing you know, they score a touchdown. You miss a field goal. You couldn't convert on the Jalen Reagor play because he was out of bounds. You get the field goal blocked. It was really like all momentum was sucked out after that. And then you thought maybe coming out of halftime, they'll make adjustments. They'll make things happen. No. You know who made adjustments? DeMeco Ryans on the defensive coordinator, former Eagles linebacker, DeMeco Ryans. He ended up making the adjustments defensively, blanketing the Eagles offense, and it was like they couldn't do anything. And then you finally saw Jalen Hurts start to get things going late when they actually had the ball for, 3 minutes in that fourth quarter. They actually scored a touchdown because Jalen Hurts made things happen. Defensively speaking, you allowed the big play to Deebo Samuel, who I can't help but every time I reference him, call him Deebo Sweeney. Deebo Samuel goes out there. He makes the big 40-yard play, caught the ball at about 10 yards past the line of scrimmage, took it another 30 yards because he got beat off the ball, basically. It was a bad play. Overall, defensively, again, I go back to Steven Nelson and the touchdown he allowed. So it was a rough one. Go back to the sound. Sorry, I'm going off on another tangent. I want to make sure I get you guys this sound. That was Nick Sirianni talking about the fourth down play. Here is Jalen Hurts talking about the fourth down play. And just try to read his vibe for a second. Tell me what you think he thought of the play call when it came in.
Fourth down and goal, the double pass. I'm a playmaker out there on the field. I want to make the plays. You know what I'm saying? That's a play we didn't make. We didn't hit it.
Is it frustrating at all to not be the one to throw that pass?
It's frustrating to lose the game.
Is that designed to be thrown to you? Or is that you the one that was...
As the quarterback, how do you react?
Nick said that you got a different look pre-snap on that play than what they actually executed. Did you guys think it was man because of the motion?
I'm sorry?
Nick said that you guys thought you had one look pre-snap and then they actually ran something different on the double pass. Did you think it was man and it was zone, or what was that?
I just wanted to go out there and try and hit the play. We didn't hit it.
To me, I get a vibe from Jalen Hurts. And I think any quarterback is well within his right to think, hold on, I'm the quarterback of this football team. I should be throwing that ball. Like, it wasn't even like last year if Carson Wentz was taken out of the game, I said his name. If Carson Wentz was taken out of the game, Jalen Hurts was put in. At least you're putting in a quarterback to throw the ball. In this situation, you're taking a wide receiver out of his element, and you're putting a quarterback out of his element, and you're isolating those two guys on one side of the football field, surrounded by 49ers. You could not have read that situation more wrong than the way the Eagles read that situation. And as they continued to talk about it, Nick Sirianni thought he liked the coverage there. Jalen Hurts seemed like he didn't like the coverage there. It just seemed like there was a miscommunication on the play entirely. And when Jalen Hurts is asked about whether or not he'd like to be the guy throwing that ball, he's like, I'm a competitor. I want to make plays. And then it was, were you the receiver on that play? Were you the intended target? And he just shook his head like, for me, I took that as, or nodded his head like, yeah. For me, I took that as, what do you want me to, like, who the hell else was on that side of the field trying to catch a football? Nobody. Anyway. So that was the way that went. One of the things Jalen Hurts said multiple times in the post-game press conference was learning. Like I was saying earlier, it's a teaching moment for Nick Sirianni. It's a teaching moment for a lot of guys on this team, but most glaring is a teaching moment for the head coach and play caller of this team, Nick Sirianni. Jalen Hurts was asked about the biggest lesson that they can take away from this loss, and here's what Jalen Hurts had to say about that.
I think the lack thereof of consistency and finish. I think the biggest thing is finish. You know, and we've got 2 games under our belt now, and on the tape you see opportunities where we finished and we see opportunities we didn't finish. Well, in this game, we didn't finish more than we did. So we have to capitalize on those opportunities moving forward, and we have to learn from this, and learn from this feeling.
I hope one of the things that they learn is just establishing a rhythm as an offense, because I felt like they were doing that early, and then I felt like they got away from it. I felt like the 91-yard pass just blew the roof off the place. I felt like everyone was really excited at that point, and it felt like after that it was like, I felt like Nick Sirianni kept on trying to get back to that level, and they just couldn't do that. The only way they could attempt to get that way is with Jalen Hurts making plays with his legs, which is nice. It's nice to have. If the defense takes away things from your receivers. That was another thing from Nick Sirianni as well. Your tight ends had 4 targets in total. Like, I thought Dallas got it, and I thought Zach Ertz was supposed to be really good tight ends, and they were barely part of the game plan. So you mean to tell me that their defense took away the run, not non-scramble runs, because Jalen Hurts ran the ball 10 times in this game. So they took away non-scramble. They took away runs. They took away your tight ends. They took away your deep ball, other than the fact that it won to Quez Watkins. Man, that's pretty good defense. So, yeah, I guess you got to tip your cap to them because they're that damn good. Where's the counter to that? There was no counter. So as this game went on, you just felt like the Eagles continued to lose momentum in this game, and the only time they were able to do anything that was very positive, especially in that second half, was when Jalen Hurts created a play out of nothing. And we've talked about this a million times since the start of the offseason, since right after the Super Bowl when this show started. We talked about if Jalen Hurts doesn't know the play, he'll make the play. Now I think he actually knows the play, but now he also knows not to try to execute a particular play. Like, for instance, if his reads are gone or covered, he knows to take off with it and try to make a play of positive yards for this offense. And that was really the only Eagles big games, or big gains rather, in that second half, was Jalen Hurts making plays with his legs. A little too much for what I liked, but still it was a lot right there. Then finally, the guy that was number 1 on my list as far as the Farzy 5 went today, the first guy I mentioned on the Farzy 5 today, Steven Nelson. Steven Nelson, I mentioned, new corner. Came over here to Philly, obviously, in the offseason. The Eagles needed another corner. They got the corner. So Steven Nelson is lined up on the defensive right side of the field. Goal line situation, or red zone situation. And wide receivers out there, Jennings. Then you have Kittle on the inside. I think there was one more receiver on that side of the football field. I think it was Debo Sweeney. Jimmy Garoppolo drops back, gets the snap, looks over to the left side of the field, and just that look, 3 Eagles defenders converge on George Kittle. We're not going to let George Kittle beat us. Little dink pass, little floater to Jennings, Jennings, in the end zone for the touchdown. Steven Nelson was basically left out to dry on the play by his own doing. Steven Nelson then gives you the most detailed description he could possibly give you about what happened on that play. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you defensive genius Steven Nelson with a really in-depth description on what happened.
A lot of things just got jumbled up, Yeah.
I'm sorry, what was that one more time?
A lot of things just got jumbled up, Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think I hiccuped and I just missed what you said. One more time there, Steven Nelson.
A lot of things just got jumbled up, Yeah.
Okay. A lot of things just got jumbled up on that play. You tried to jump the route to a guy the ball wasn't even going to. You saw George Kittle and you're like, oh, God, George Kittle. I can't let him get the play. And then sure enough, he did not get the play. And you got suckered. You got sucked in to the vacuum that is George Kittle. Who, by the way, I will say, I talked about Jordan Mailata as being a positive. There's another positive in all of this. And I'll tell you this. The tight ends haven't been beating the Eagles the first 2 games of the season. Kyle Pitts didn't beat the Eagles. And I know he was a rookie. That's fine. And George Kittle didn't beat the Eagles. And he's a veteran, and he's really good at football. So that's good, too, I guess. Other than that, not a lot of positives. Not a lot of positives. We're going to get to our social media check-in coming in just a second when it comes to all things Eagles in this game, obviously coming up in just a second. But right now, by the way, that post-game sound brought to you by the great people of Rothman Orthopaedics. Rothman Ortho.com. I also want to make sure that we mention this. I want to get back to it because we will in our morning rush segment a little bit when it comes to what went down with Brandon Graham and what went down with Brandon Brooks as well. Just a couple of tough losses to the roster that the Eagles suffered in this game, aside from just losing 17-11 to the San Francisco 49ers. But right now, let me tell you more about Rothman Orthopaedics. When you have an orthopedic issue, you need a physician who eats, sleeps, breathes orthopedics. You need an exceptionally specialized Rothman Orthopaedics physician. They not only specialize in orthopedics, but each of their physicians only focuses in on one area of the body, which means you can have the confidence to get past the pain and be what you were. Visit them in one of their 30-plus locations in PA and New Jersey, including 4 orthopedic-only urgent cares. Learn more at RothmanOrtho.com. That's RothmanOrtho.com. Maybe Nick Sirianni needed a little BetQL. Maybe he needed that a little bit, maybe to help him tell the percentages on how a play like that 4th down play would have actually worked out. But you can do the research to get the advantage over your sports book with the BetQL app, the only app you'll need to make smart bets throughout all the seasons in pro sports. Their best bets computer model scans over 350,000 unique bets per year to give you a best bet recommendation for every game across all major sports and gives you the reasoning behind why you should place the bet. BetQL's best bet algorithms went 13-2 during the opening week of the season on a 5-star bet. Their model covers everything from point spreads, over-unders, and player prop bets as well. Don't want to use the model and prefer to do your own research? Well, BetQL provides that research with all the necessary tools for you to do your own betting research as well. But you can also take advantage of what BetQL is providing for you. If you don't want to use that model, make sure you take advantage of the research they provide. Everything from sharp data, line movement, team summaries, lineups, injuries, and breaking news, and even a leaderboard that will track your success. Head to the App Store right now or Google Play Store now to download the BetQL app. Steak in Maine. Should have seen it. If you're not following Tony Cavada on social media and Steak in Maine, steakinmaine.com, if you like cacio pepe, which for those that don't know, cacio e pepe is it's cheese and pepper on a nice pasta, on like a nice like spaghetti, bucatini, or peachy pasta. Like it's a really nice thing. It's a big thing. It's one of the oldest Italian dishes. And Anthony was making this the good old-fashioned way in a big old block of Parmesan Reggiano cheese. Oh, my God. It looked amazing. And you know what? In a couple of weeks, I'm going to be there at Steak in Maine. I'm going to be enjoying that cacio pepe, as a matter of fact. Probably going to have the tomahawk steak because I don't want to be rude. It's there for the taking, so why not have one? Steak in Maine, steakinmaine.com for more information. Voted the #1 place for steaks in America by the Travel Channel and the Cooking Channel. And here's what you could do. You could dine in their more upscale steakhouse. You could dine in their casual bar. You could dine in their patio. Or they got the little back area right there with this nice big table for a big party that actually spins. So if you're getting portions to share, whoosh, spin the table. Next thing you know, boom, the sushi's right there. Whoosh, next thing you know, they spin it, boom, tomahawk steaks right there. Whoosh, cacio pepe right there. Beer, wine, cheeses, everything right there at the beautiful table they got in the back. They got the freshly prepared sushi. They got Cavada Cellars wines. They got everything you need. Steak and Maine, steakandmaine.com. Great restaurant in the heart of Northeast Maryland. How about WinView? If you haven't taken advantage of WinView yet, make sure you do. WinView is the only game where fans can take advantage of other fans and end the debate once and for all the biggest sports fans. That's right. Who's the biggest sports fan? You'll find out with WinView. If you have those friends and family who think they know everything, why not put a little money where their mouth is right now and see who can walk the walk and not just talk the talk with WinView. If you want to break up the monotony of a family dinner and get together, how about this? Turn a corner of Monday Night Football, for instance, put a little skin in the game with WinView. Perfect way to add a little extra layer of competition for your fantasy football league as well, whether you're tracking the games on Sunday or Monday or Thursday or Sunday night, for instance. You can just make sure you take advantage of all that WinView and the WinView app has to offer. So take advantage. And how about our friends also at PHL Sports Nation? That's PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience. Let's go ahead and roll right into our social media check-in, brought to you by Steak and Maine and steakandmaine.com. Dax checking in, leading it off. Good morning, Dak. Nice to see you. Mally, Marc, Chat, PJ. Morning, my guy. People. I thought that said gulp. It says good. Sorry. Mally, side note, Brooks is what's up, Mally? April's checking in. What's going on? Larry's checking in. Just saying, I like Larry. Terrible. Larry's description of the game. Terrible. You're not wrong. That's actually probably the best analysis thus far. The refs were the worst. Here's what I can't do. By the letter of the law, the refs played well. And I saw what looked like the delay of game, the clock run out. I wasn't sure what the hell that was because that was too obvious. And I haven't seen anybody come out and talk about that per se, where there was some glitch. Like, for instance, I don't know if you guys saw it during the game, the Fox broadcast put the first down marker on a Zach Ertz first down. They didn't put it at the sticks. They put it at what they thought were the sticks, which was actually a Gatorade bottle holder on the sideline. Did you see this? Zach Ertz's first down catch. I believe he only had one first down catch in the game. Jalen Hurts hits him. It's well short of the yellow line on the field. And I go, damn, I didn't realize that was that far away. And then they start huddling up like they converted and they run another play. And I go, well, that was ballsy, Nick Sirianni. And I was like, let me just go back and look at that again. And they extended the yellow line for the first down at a orange Gatorade bottle holder on the sideline, which I guess at a quick glance you think is the sticks. Hey, look, I spent 11 years in a production truck. I know there's a lot going on in there. And I doubt that person has one job to do that line, but it is one of their jobs. But I know that confused a lot of people. It certainly confused me as well. But anyway, so what I'm saying, I'm bringing that up only to say that Fox could have just made a mistake on the TV, because it would be hard for me to justify even referees that weren't having the best game ever. Look at that and go, oh, we missed the play clock. We missed the delay of game. So I saw it count down as well. I've seen that happen in other NFL games. There's a real famous play with Tom Brady. There's a real famous clip on TV where Tom Brady goes into the huddle when he was at the Patriots, comes out as the play clock's expiring and goes like this, and then you see the play clock reset. So I was like, what the hell is that, Tom? I think that's more of not a glitch, but an error in the broadcast than it is anything else, or just something maybe we don't understand. But overall, yeah, it was a terrible game. Larry, again, fine analysis. I just didn't understand a lot of the play calling on offense and defense. Mally's saying that about this Eagles game. Yeah, I don't disagree. April's also saying a lot of missed opportunities. You could certainly look at missed opportunities, and I think a lot of that, again, goes back to the head coach. Look, the reason everyone gets a piece of the pie, as Andy Reid used to say, is because if Jalen Reagor keeps his feet in, you're starting out the second quarter 10-0. And you feel a lot better about it. You're closing the first quarter 10-0. You feel a lot better about the rest of the game when you're leading 10-0 and you already broke the plane for a touchdown early in that game. First quarter 10-0 against San Francisco 49ers team that scored 41 points and allowed 33 points in the previous week. I feel pretty good about 10-0 at the close of the first quarter. And you would have had that with Jalen Reagor keeping his feet in bounds. It didn't happen. Missed opportunity. 91-yard play to Quez Watkins with your quarterback 5 feet deep in his own end zone. bombs it down the field. Place is going berserk. And then I want to make sure I go back to this because, yeah, here you go. First and 10 from the Eagles' 3-yard line. 91-yard play to Quez Watkins. Isaac Seumalo, false start. Move it back. Jalen Hurts, incomplete to Kenny Gainwell. Jalen Hurts, incomplete to Devontae Smith. Penalty, Josh Norman. You got the defensive pass interference. You got 10 yards right there. You reset. First and goal from the San Francisco 1. Incomplete to Hurts. Miles Sanders gets stuffed, -3 yards. So now you're at 3rd and 4 from the 4-yard line. Jalen Hurts runs the right end. That's that weird play where he tried to take it to the outside. He did take it to the outside. Didn't know what he wanted to do with it. Either give it to Miles Sanders or keep it himself. He kept it himself. They got 3 yards out of it. Oh, excuse me. They got a yard out of it. 4th and 3 from the San Francisco 3-yard line. 4th and goal from the 3. Missed opportunity. Again, you could justify going for it. I can't justify that play call, as even Nick Sirianni said after the game. Then what happens the very next series? You get them to go you get the San Francisco 49ers into a 3rd down situation. They're able to complete a pass to Deebo Samuel for 5 yards, and they're able to go the rest of 12 plays, 97 yards for the Steven Nelson allowed touchdown to Juwan Jennings. So that's how that went. We're all having fun here. We're all having fun. April, I think that's what you mean by missed opportunities, and I couldn't agree with you more. Let's see. Delay a game not called. That's the Stuyvesant. I think I do this every time. Anyway, welcome to the chat. It's always nice to have you. April, Jalen is going to get real tired of running around in circles. That's the thing, man. 10 plays where he had to take off in this game. Maybe 3 of them were design runs. The other 7 were, oh, God. There's nothing open. And that's not even a knock on the offensive line. As much as it is a knock on the receivers not getting open. And, hey, look, from what it looked like, anytime they were able to shine, I'm looking for, I think Wednesday, the All-22 will come out where you can see who was open if you really miss guys. The one play I will look at with Jalen Hurts, and it didn't result in a scramble, that I look at Jalen Hurts, other than the deep ball to Devontae Smith where he had all day to throw, and he decided to take all day to throw, and he didn't need to. The other thing that I'll look at with Jalen Hurts is just a really short play on 3rd down where he had Dallas Goedert open in the flat, opted for the deeper route. I guess he thought he didn't have the angle to Dallas Goedert, but it seems as the play went on, Dallas got more open for the 1st down. I know some people thought it was debatable. I went back and watched it about 10 times. He had Dallas Goedert down low in the flat, no question. What else do we have here? Momentum killer for sure, but they had so many chances to get that energy back. They absolutely did, April. I don't disagree with that. Oh, we got Colts conversation. Yeah. Carson Wentz also got hurt yesterday. Aside from the interception on the shovel pass, I didn't see that play, but I saw that he got hurt. Further evaluation today, it was an ankle injury. Strike me dead for saying it. I'm rooting for Carson Wentz. I'm rooting for Carson Wentz to be healthy. I'm rooting for Carson Wentz to play well because I want the Eagles to get that 1st round pick, and you all should too. Are we getting a show from Steak and Maine? Probably. Here's what I want to do with Tony, because Tony and I, not as much as Tony, but Tony and I, we both love cooking, and I would love to. I think, fellas, and some ladies as well. Let's take it like this. I think it'd be helpful, maybe in the summer, maybe next summer, just to do a little cooking demonstration with Tony. Maybe like 5 easy meals that guys can make or ladies can make for their significant other. And, maybe Tony could just give us a quick, easy meals. Give everyone a little helpful tip on how to cook. And here's what will really be good. I get to eat a lot of good food. That's if I'm being honest, that's really what it's about. I'm really providing content for you guys. It's me just eating Tony's food because it's delicious. Are we getting the show for Steak and Maine? Yeah, hopefully something one day. It's like the first quarter, the Eagles' whole game change. That's right. Eagles' whole game change. Eagles could lose the next 3 to 4 games. Ray, let me tell you something about you, Ray. Every time I see your name pop up here, you know what I know? I know real talk is coming. Real talk, Ray. That's how I think of you, buddy. You're not wrong. It's going to be a tough stretch from the Eagles from this point out. No question, especially with things like this. And as we shift away from our social media check-in into our morning rush. So that's our Steak and Maine segment, our Steak and Maine's social media check-in. We move into our morning rush, brought to you by Sky Motor Cars and SkyMotorCars.com. Want to show you this. This came out right after the game last night. Brandon Graham himself taking to social media after all but confirming that his season is done with an Achilles tear. We still about to shock the world. I'll just be leading from the sidelines this year, working to be great for 2022. Appreciate all the love, and now is the time for you guys to step up. You have to find the treasure in every situation. I have never seen, like, Brandon Graham, like, not be an emotional guy. And whether that's the biggest smile in the world or that's the guy that was hugging D Gunn after he thought his last game was played as a member of the Philadelphia Eagles in New Orleans in the playoffs a couple of years ago. I've never seen him not be an emotional guy. And I think I've told the story before. I think it's well documented at this point. Brandon Graham, after that game where he thought his career was done as a Philadelphia Eagle, during the locker room session was standing by the door where the media exits. So basically how it works is you're in the locker room and you're talking to all the guys. You're going around interviewing people. And then someone goes, locker room's closed. And then you got to leave. And as the long line of reporters are leaving the NovaCare complex and they're going out the exit, Brandon Graham is standing right there at the door. And he's throwing bro hugs on people. He's high-fiving guys. He's saying thanks for the coverage. He's saying, hey, thanks for everything. He thought he was done in Philadelphia. And he's been on this show when this show was just getting started. And that is, look, Brandon Graham owes me nothing. And I won't say that I'm like buddies with Brandon Graham or anything. We definitely have a good rapport. But I think he has that same thing with everybody in Philadelphia media. When a guy like that goes down, a guy that's so easy to root for, a guy that's a Super Bowl champion, a guy that came up with a huge play, one of the biggest plays in Eagles history with the strip sack of Tom Brady, that's a guy right there that you feel it. Like, I don't care how professional you are. I don't care. I'm a writer or I'm a media member. I don't feel things. Like, no, you feel this for Brandon Graham because he's one of the best guys you could ever root for in the city of Philadelphia. And from an X's and O's standpoint, from a team standpoint, this is a huge loss. Forget about the fact that this guy has come up with big stops already in the first 2 games of this season. We look at the play where he was able to get a stop. I believe it was the first possession in the red zone against the Atlanta Falcons. And then you look at him getting penetration off the edge, forcing a play to the middle of the field so that, I forget who it was, came in and finished it off. It might have been Fletcher Cox or Hassan Ridgeway maybe. That's Brandon Graham having his impact felt on the field for being a good football player. All the other drama, all the other intangibles, all the other chemistry things aside, he's a good football player. But when you factor in the leadership, when you factor in the attitude that this guy brings every single day and how these younger guys look up to him as a leader, that's a huge loss. And to see him say that he's going to be there on the sidelines, still leading, still getting these guys pumped up, hey, man, all ears. All ears. Because here's one thing. No matter what happens to Brandon Graham, that guy ain't never going to be quiet. And Alex Singleton even said it in his post-game press conference after the game. He said, one thing about not having Brandon Graham is going to be a lot quieter on the defensive line. He said that's about it. The offenses are going to know it's going to be a little bit quieter. So it might be an eerie silence from time to time, and maybe that'll throw off offenses, especially an offense like the Dallas Cowboys that's so used to hearing Brandon Graham chop it up at the line of scrimmage, if you will. But these young guys are going to have to be ready to step up. Josh Sweat, you just cashed yourself a nice big check, my friend. And I've been hearing for a long time. And, hey, Chris Long even said it recently with John Clark of NBC Sports Philadelphia about how good a player Josh Sweat is. Now it's time to prove it. Now it's time to get after the quarterback. He had a great pressure on Jimmy Garoppolo. I believe it was in the third quarter of this game where he needed to try to make something happen. He tried to make something happen. You need to see him step up. That's the guy I'm really going to be looking at. I know some people, Derek Barnett had an awful penalty yesterday, but overall, I don't have a lot of expectations for Derek Barnett. With all the words, all the things that get said about Josh Sweat, I want to see it. I want to see something from Josh Sweat, and I want that to start come Sunday against the Dallas Cowboys. Time for Josh Sweat to step up, earn that new contract. I've been hearing for a long time how good this guy's supposed to be. Now I want to see it show up in the stat book. Overall on the football field as well. With Brandon Graham out, I'm looking at you, Josh Sweat, to start carrying some of that heavy workload left behind by the veteran defensive end. So Josh Sweat, get it going, fella. No better time like the present coming up against the Dallas Cowboys come Monday night. So we'll see how that goes out. I also do want to let you see the front page, not the back page, but the front page of the Daily News. There it is. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. Thought it was shoulda, coulda, woulda. But you know what? Maybe that's part of the play on words there. Maybe even that was out of order, sort of like Nick Sirianni's play calling in this particular game being out of order. I think that's part of the message that the Daily News also had. I do want to mention, as part of our Morning Rush segment today, that the Phillies over the weekend got to within one game of first place in the NL East. And then they lost to the Mets 3-2 yesterday, and the Braves won. So the Phillies are now back to 2 games out of first place in the NL East. Hey, remember the Phillies? 2 games out. I already mentioned Carson Wentz. His injury is getting evaluated, an ankle injury. He was out for the time period in the game yesterday. So we'll see how he does later today. They did say after the game, Frank Reich did say after the game that Carson Wentz did roll his ankle badly, was the word used. So we'll see just how bad he rolled his ankle in the not-too-distant future. Sunday Night Football, Ravens edge the Kansas City Chiefs 36-35, an incredible game. It came down to a fumble, if I have that in my notes somewhere, which I know I wrote down at some point in my life. The hell's bells? Yeah, fumble came down. Edwards Hilaire fumbled the football at, I believe, the Baltimore 32-yard line. And then Baltimore, basically, Kansas City Chiefs had an opportunity to kick a field goal and win the game if they don't fumble that football, at least. And he fumbled the ball, went back to the Ravens, and for the first time in Lamar Jackson's career, he beats the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City Chiefs. Both of them just had incredible games, more so Lamar Jackson on the ground, both racked up over 300 yards of total offense. Mahomes through the air, 3 touchdown passes. Lamar Jackson on the ground, over 100 yards rushing. I believe 230 yards passing. So not a bad day for him. Had an incredible play. Was it Marquise Brown? A jump pass that was just insane. Found Brown behind the defense, ran it in for the touchdown. Incredible game. Absolutely incredible game. Christopher, why are we talking about Wentz? Because Wentz can get us a first-round pick if he's not hurt. That's why I mentioned Wentz. I blame Carson for Brooks being so soft. There you go. I'm going to be replaying that 4th and goal play in my head, as I know I've done it already many times on this 1 hour that I've been talking to you. I just can't get over how horrible and putrid a play call that was. I don't care how well you executed in practice. To see how fast the 49ers blew that up, I don't know what you saw beforehand to say, hey, I got an idea. And hopefully, and this is what it all comes down to, the one game will not define Nick Sirianni. The first game of the season didn't define him. This game won't define him. How he does this season will define him. And it's all about how he bounces back. And I even saw our friend Jeff Mosher put this out as well. Games like this for young coaches are all about how you bounce back. That's what Jeff Mosher had to say about it, and I agree with him on that. It's all about how you bounce back. So we'll see the resiliency of this offense. We'll see how they respond to adversity. Because 2 games in Nick Sirianni's career as a head coach, he's got his first case of adversity. Here it is right in front of him. Capitalize on the opportunity in front of you. Beat the Cowboys in Dallas on Monday night, prime time. And a lot of people are going to be moving towards forgiveness a lot faster than they would have assumed. Don't do that. And, well, the wrath is waiting. I will say, I am proud of a lot of people for this. The first game that they lose under Nick Sirianni, I didn't feel like the world was burning. I felt like people were frustrated. People wanted to vent, and they had every right to do that today, and they have every right to do that right there in our chat. So Christopher's back. Kiss that first-round pick goodbye. Are we really surprised? No, not at all. I mean, even when Carson Wentz had the foot injury, re-aggravated foot injury from high school, suffered in training camp, re-aggravated in training camp, what did we say? For all the people that were looking forward to that first-round pick, what were we thinking? The whole time he's here in Philadelphia, we're just waiting for him to get hurt. The minute he gets traded, oh, well, Carson's obviously going to play, and we're going to get that first-round pick. Almost as stupid as a 4th and goal from the 3 and the play that they called yesterday, the Philadelphia Eagles. See how I tied it back together? Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for allowing me a platform to vent. Much appreciated, everybody. Back with you guys tomorrow on a happy Tuesday morning. We'll get Hugh Lamont Douglas as the 3rd take on all of this. And, man, what a beatdown Tampa Bay on the Atlanta Falcons yesterday. 2 pick sixes in the final, 5 minutes of that game? Sports are fun. Be back with you guys tomorrow. We'll be going through all the things Nick Sirianni said after he watched the film, what he saw from Jalen Hurts, what he saw from his own game plan, and a more of an update on Brandon Brooks. Brandon Graham season done. Brandon Brooks hangs in the balance. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My thanks to Jim Hyden, who produced the program. This is a Buzz Sports Entertainment production. My name is Marc Farzetta. Have a great rest of your day, everybody, from the Steven Singer Studios. Take it easy.